Hello and welcome. Big question for everybody out there. Our true self. How many times do you get lost by what we're seeing out there, or we're looking at the internet and we're really, stuck and we forgot who we are? So Isabel and myself are going to be talking about diving a little deeper about how to reclaim our true self and how to accept and realize who we are as individual people. Hello, I'm Tanya Otterstein-Liehs, your host for Mindful Conversations. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'd love for you to subscribe, hit that button so you get notification every time another episode goes live. Hello, welcome, Isabel. I'm like really excited about this conversation we're going to have today.
Thank you very much, Tanya, for your invitation, and it's always great to exchange with you and your audience. So thank you for the invite.
Yeah. Now, before we get deeper into steps or how we even, claimed our own energies, our own self, can tell, the audience a little bit about yourself and where in the world are you coming from?
Okay, so you can tell with my accent that I'm French, French from France, and I'm based in Ecuador. I've been here for the past 13 years. Came the first time as a backpacker in 2007 and loved it so much, followed my heart, and I just thought I'm coming back. So came back twice, and so I've been here. I'm a coach as well. I'm a women's empowerment coach, and I met Tanya through a course, and we clicked straight away, and that's why we've been like working together a little bit, right?
Yeah, love it, love it. And it's amazing how you said that, we just kind of clicked because of our overall, I think, thought process and beliefs, right? About how important it is to validate who you are. And, can you give a little bit of your wisdom about that?
Well, if you talk about true self, in a way, we can just use one word: authenticity,
Mhm.
right? Being authentic, being yourself, accepting yourself the way you are, and showing up as you are. So people can see you the way you are, with your strength, with your weaknesses, with your flaws as well, because that's what makes us unique as well. You see, so I think we need to allow ourselves, be compassionate with ourselves as we would do with a friend, a family member, just to accept ourselves the way we are, with our shadow and with our light.
Yeah. I love that. Some words that kind of stuck out with me is that flow, self-acceptance, self-compassion, compliments, because we, especially as women, right, is about we excel at giving everybody else a compliment. And oftentimes when we get the compliment back, we're like, oh, no, no, instead of just simply accepting it and saying, well, thank you very much. And do we give ourselves a compliment? Like, do we look in the mirror and say, you're beautiful. I love the way you look today, your outfits. Or do we look in the mirror and say, oh, another wrinkle, another gray hair, or I don't like this outfit. You know, what what do you say about that? How do we switch or shift that mindset to accept the ability to give ourselves compliments and self-compassion?
I'm glad you've asked that, because it took me a long time to accept compliments, because I
Mhm.
was always thinking, oh, well, not really.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, as you said, thank you. And I'm going to share something with you today,
Please. Yeah.
because of the of your talk show. I obviously got ready, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I said to myself, "That's a nice haircut you've got." Because I cut my hair last year, and
Yeah.
because just before in December, and I was just like, yeah, I need a big change. I need a new look, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I looked at myself, and I was just like, that haircut suits you. And a few years ago, I would have never been able to look at myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I'm changing my hair color as well because I've dyed my hair for so long. And now I've decided to go natural. And that's another way as well to accept myself. And I looked at myself this morning and I was just like, wow, that's a nice color, actually. You're getting
Yeah.
natural and it's accepting the way I am and being grateful as well. Not that we don't have to be grateful about the way you look, but at least to appreciate that we are unique. And even if I have a wrinkle there or another one there, it's because I laugh too much, and that's it.
Yeah. 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 Unique. That's such an important word, right? Because we compare ourselves all the time, right? And I feel that you and I have gotten past that, although it does happen still. I call that self-critic. She'll always be there. It's whether we allow her to voice her opinion and believe it, or whether we decide to, like, yeah, I hear you, however, accept, accept I know I am living, like you said, living life, and this is part of life. And the fact that you looked in the mirror and you gave yourself a compliment, like that haircut, that really looks good to me. I love the haircut I got. And then you talked about your hair, that you're not coloring it anymore. And I love how you're embracing that, because I'm embracing that too. I used to get, highlights and all that, but I'm embracing the gray that's coming through. And I love it after, a fresh wash. I look in the mirror and say, oh, this is beautiful. I have like my natural blonde coming through, my natural strawberry blonde, some natural grays coming through. And it's like, this is unique. No one else has, these colors in here. And people have asked me like, oh, that's really neat of you. Have you added those highlights? Like, no, I'm embracing this. So I love how you're embracing that uniqueness about yourself, right? And it's so wonderful, because there's so many women out there that are middle age, in their 50s, like we are, and are hiding their grays. I was at the hair salon. Now, this is a month ago. And a lady was saying like, yeah, my grays, I need to hide my grays. And I'm just sitting there thinking, no.
Don't have to. And when you were talking about comparing yourself, I always say to my clients, don't compare yourself. Get
Yeah.
inspired. Get inspired by others. Just
Mhm.
say, hey, she's done it right, or she can be like an inspiration. I don't know, if you want to lose weight and you've got somebody and a lady, she looks nice. You can just say, hey, she looks nice. I'm going to be inspired.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. You're right. That inspiration, inspire yourself, right? I always say, what is something that you loved to do in the past that brought joy to you, fulfilled your life, you found happiness, but now for years, you haven't done it anymore. And you keep on telling yourself, oh, I wish I would do this again, or I wish I would start up this again. But you're denying yourself that because you think you're not worthy, or you think you have no time, or you think, oh, I can't start it now.
well, I used to play piano,
Yeah.
right? And my piano is in France, and I went back to France not long ago, and I didn't play piano for 2 weeks, and it was there looking at me.
Yeah.
And coming back in Ecuador, I just thought, why didn't you do it? You enjoyed it so much. I think we change, and it's not a way that I don't feel worth it, but at the same time, because I haven't touched a key for a long time,
Mm.
I was probably not a bit worried about how I would play.
Yeah.
And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, who cares?
Yep.
As long as we're happy doing it, and obviously it's like everything else, you have to practice. Okay. So once again, being compassionate with ourselves, saying, okay, well,
Yeah.
you haven't practiced for a while, so it's okay that if you make mistakes.
Yeah.
So, but that's something. Yes, I used to love playing piano, and that was a bit of pick me up. When I was a bit down, I
Yeah.
would go and play. The music would help, and actually as well the fact that was like a companion, my piano. I could just how can I say that? Just release my emotions, negative
Yeah,
emotions.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yes, I wish I could go back and do it.
yeah. Well, I think they have sites where you can use your phone or an iPad or something as a musical, like a little mini piano. So something to try out. Yeah.
I would try. I would try.
Uh, and that's kind of the creativity, right? The creativity in our mind. It's like you said, it releases negativity and it brings about joy. That's like, I love painting or creating and doing crafts. And even if it's 10 minutes, it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm just going to continue with this project. It's 10 minutes. That 10 minutes is amazing because I just am focused on nothing else but the moment, right? And focusing on that and letting everything release, you become more, I say, in tune to yourself. I mean, that's how what it does for me. I'm more in tuned and I realize this really is something, this creativity is something to continue. And I tell women out there, like, if you used to do it, what's stopping you?
Mhm.
Use 5 minutes, use 10 minutes, use half an hour because everybody has half an hour. I mean, how many people pick up their phone and they're scrolling for half an hour? How has that helped you? Oftentimes that sets you in a place of more negativity because you're starting to compare
Exactly.
again, right? Or you're
Mhm.
regretting, or you're saying, oh, I wish I could go there like that person. Oh, look at that person's traveling all the time. Or look how beautiful this person is. Or look, I wish I could. I wish I was there. I wish I could do that. If. And what's happening? I always say this spiral happens
Mhm.
and it's downward again.
Yeah, that's true. But I think when people say, I've got no time,
Mm,
that's something which for me doesn't work. I
yeah,
always say no. For you, it's not a priority, which I can appreciate, but having
yeah.
time, you find the time when you're motivated.
Hmm, hmm. I like to call it as well as make room for yourself.
Mhm.
Set an appointment for yourself because how many times do you have, doctor's appointment, hairdresser appointment, hairstylist, dentist, doctor, lawyers, whatever appointments, and there's no way you would cancel that.
Exactly.
But are you making an appointment for yourself? And if you are you going to keep it? And what are you going to do to prioritize that in your life? Right. And, you know, reclaiming your true self. Would you say, Isabel, when we reclaim our true self, it's finding that inner joy, finding that there is something everybody loves about themselves, but they do not bring it to light. And I think Isabel is frozen right now. We're going to pause it for just a moment. So it looks like we lost Isabel. I know she mentioned at the beginning she was having some internet issues. So I'll call this part one. And I'm going to get a part two up. But thank you so much for watching this far. And do tune into part two. I will call it part two on my podcast, whether you're catching this on YouTube or whether you're catching this on Anchor FM. Take care now. So here we are, part two. Internet is back on for Isabel. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming back for part two. So Isabel, we were talking about, reclaiming our true self and about being creative to inspire us. And, we talked earlier on about we do have all personal challenges and hearing that inner critic that she'll, always be there. So going more into that, personal challenge, is there one that you can share with us, that you're comfortable sharing with us? Personal challenge that you yourself are going through right now, and what's helping you kind of shift and continue through that challenge that you might be faced with?
Um, Well, I'm French, I'm in Ecuador, and sometimes the challenge is the culture, right? The clothes are different. I had an example last weekend, and I was just shocked about the other person's reaction. And I was thinking, hang on a second, you're in a different country,
Yeah.
different language, different culture, different codes. So just step back a little bit and try to put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Mm,
And I was just like, okay, our values are different, but I agree to disagree.
yeah.
So I didn't actually betray myself, but at the same time, I understood that we are all different.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens sometimes, despite being here 13 years, sometimes I'm just like, oh God, I'm surprised. And so that's why sometimes I'm just like, okay, don't judge very quickly.
Mm,
Just stop, breathe, and just say, okay, it's not what I'm used to, or that what I feel, what I think, my values, but accept the difference. And as you say in English, and I love that expression, to agree to disagree.
yeah. Yeah. I love that, right? Agree to disagree. And that we can even switch that to ourselves. I can agree to disagree with that inner voice, that negative inner voice, that
Exactly.
voice of self-love. Oh, I am going to agree with her or him. Right.
Exactly.
And
I usually say thank you first. I
yeah,
usually
yeah,
say thank you for your little chatter.
yeah,
Um, but I don't want to listen to you today. So thank
yeah,
you very much. I know it's from a good intention because you want to protect me, but I know what I've got to do. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. And that thanking, that gratitude, I think that can be stemmed even further. Like something that I practice is writing a gratitude journal, right? I write down 5 things I'm grateful for. And after I've written them down, I go through each one, I rewrite it, and I say thank you. Right? Thank you. Because I found that, and I've been doing gratitude journal, oh, I guess 5 years now or something like that. 3 years. I don't, yeah, probably 5 years. And I've found that it has made a huge impact overall on that thought process because I always say now, it doesn't matter how awful a situation it could always be worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you constantly are thinking negative, then it's going to really be hard for yourself to shift and start transforming that mindset. People will come up to me and say, Tanya, you're always so positive. How is it you're positive? It's like, yo, this is like a 25-year journey and it's not going anywhere. It's going to continue. I said that positivity does not happen overnight. It's
No.
through choosing to make it a daily habit. And I'm not, I say those people, well, thank you very much. And I said, there's days where I'm feeling in the dumps too. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, or when I'm feeling in the dumps, I've learned to recognize that, and it comes naturally now. And I start saying to myself, okay, what's causing me to feel down in the dumps? What's causing me to feel like this? What's causing me to start comparing? What's causing me to think I'm not worthy? Right. And then after I've come through that, then I say, okay, well, this'll pass, and this is still good in my life. So it's those baby steps that are so vital. Like, what are your thoughts on that, Isabelle, when you've gone through the same thing or you're going through the same thing in thought processes?
Well, I'm the same. If there is a situation which has been difficult, I always try to look at what I've got to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I get that situation in my path? And is it like a pattern? Is it
Mm-hmm.
something triggered by something and it happens in different parts of my life? As you say, it could have been worse. That's true. But I always say, so there is room for improvement.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So it can't go. I always say to myself, well, now it can get better.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at the reason why, the cause why I've been in that situation, or why I felt the way I felt at the time, probably sad, angry, and then I'm just like, okay, well, you've learned from it, so it won't happen again, or you won't allow it to happen again.
Mm.
And look at the bright side, thinking, okay, thank you for the learning curve.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a learning curve, right? Life is ups and downs and rolling hills and downhills, and sometimes we never know what is around the corner, right? And that's why I like to say that, you know, be grateful every day that you get to live another, you're here to get to live again, right? And experience whatever comes to you. And, I've heard people that, even, when they're very, very sick and dealing with, let's say, cancer or something, and they know, like, they've been told, like, okay, this is it, right? And they're lying in that hospice. They're like, you know what? As awful as this is, and again, this comes from really deep searching that they've done. I got to live my life, and I'm still here right now today. And what is one thing I can do to help bring a smile to my face and maybe the people around me? That's really, really deep. So even people in those circumstances and those situations, they've made a decision to, I can, die with real anger, or I
Mm-hmm.
can die being at peace with myself. And I
Exactly.
find that when you yourself, no matter what situation, are at peace with yourself, that makes a real shift in how you start living your life.
Yes, and I've got to say, well, in my previous life, I was living in England, because I lived a long time in England as well. I didn't have that grateful attitude.
Mm.
I felt that everything was normal, and not that it was something people owed me, not that's feeling, but
Yeah,
just like, well, that's okay, that's normal. And actually, it's not. And because I realize now here in Ecuador, and that was an eye opener when I did my tour in South America, that people don't have much and they are happy. And so being grateful with what you've got
yeah,
will bring you joy to start with, and will bring more joy because you appreciate. And that's
yeah,
something sometimes we are not aware of, or
yeah,
not taught.
yeah. So important, right? Appreciate what you have. And that brings me to what's happening around the world right now, right? I mean, there's so much negativity and there's devastation out there that's just awful, right? And here you have people complaining about the most ridiculous things, right? And you say to them, well, how about instead of complaining about what you don't like in your own environment or your own situation, how about looking at, what you have and be grateful for those little things? Like, be grateful you can turn on a tap and you have clean running water.
Oh,
Or,
yes.
yeah, be grateful, you have a roof over your head. And those little things are huge, right? Are huge. And that helps again with your attitude overall.
I actually invite your audience to make a list of what they are grateful for.
Yeah.
For example, as I said to you, living in South America was an eye opener. And just like eating 3 times a day, we take it for granted.
Mm,
Not everybody can do that.
yeah.
So, as you said, clean water, electricity, health, being
Yeah.
healthy.
Yeah.
So, usually I make a list twice a year about what I've got.
Mm,
Um, and having friendship, being able to have internet, meeting you, and little things, just like thanks to my body as well, um, to be healthy so I can do whatever I want.
yeah.
So, Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very important, and that's something when I was in England, I took that for granted, and here I'm so grateful of what I've got.
Yeah, beautiful. Well said. So, words I'm hearing about how to reclaim ourselves is, be grateful for little things every day, appreciate yourself, appreciate what you have.
Mm-hmm.
Look inside you and value who you are. Do something that you love. Look in that mirror and give yourself a compliment and see who you are as a unique individual and reclaim that unique individual that you are every day
Mm-hmm.
and simply love the person you are. And if there's something you want to change, instead of complaining about it, what's a baby step you can take every day
Mm-hmm.
to make that change happen and realize that it's not going to be overnight.
Oh, it's
It
going
takes
to,
work, right? It's just like
yes.
you said, you went through this I'll call it self-evaluation, and you realize like, okay, this person I am, this person who I'm becoming, I don't want to be that person anymore. What do I need to do to become the person I am today?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So
And
true.
what can I do to accept that person that I am today and to continue loving her and to realize that, whoa, I've come a long way and I need to congratulate myself that I'm continuing to be who the person I am today and I'm going to accept her. So
And
beautiful.
every day, get a
Yeah.
better person.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That brings me to mind that we all, and I know we've talked about a lot, but there's advice sometimes we hear from somebody or if we've read something, advice, and it really sticks with us. So what's the kind of advice that someone shared with you or you've read that you can share with our listeners today?
Follow your heart.
Mm,
And that's what I do.
yeah,
Because when I moved from England, I had a fantastic job. Um, and everything was supposed to be fine, but I wasn't aligned with myself. And I remember that I wanted to go to South America when I was young, and I just took the plunge. I
yeah,
followed my heart, and here I am, and I'm a better person.
yeah,
It's not easy. It wasn't easy.
yeah.
Uh, I don't regret it.
Mm,
Don't live your life with regret.
yeah, yeah. You hear that all the time with older people, right? Like, you know, they
I
regret.
wish,
Yeah,
I
they
wish.
wish, right? They regret they didn't. So yeah, I love that you say, do not um, live your life with regrets. Live your life of, okay, what can I do today to make my life a little brighter? Or,
Mm-hmm.
write down that wish list. And what is it? And it doesn't matter how long it is, but pick one thing. And what are the baby steps that you can do to get you to what is on your wish list? What is on your bucket list? And maybe it's really like out of the world. So maybe simplify it, right? Well, what's something
Mm-hmm.
similar to this that you can do?
Maybe starting an activity you've
Mm,
always dreamed of. Like I was
yeah.
talking about playing piano, you were talking about art,
Yeah.
different activities, and surround yourself with positive people.
Oh, so true, right? So true. So, and I love that, when I'm gonna really talk about this quick for a sec, that, I've been in rooms where there's so much negativity and I just do not join in the conversation. I don't, and I'll put a white bubble and I will not join in the conversation because as soon as you join in that negative conversation,
You observe it.
exactly. Or I've been invited to somewhere, uh, was it last week? Yeah, my husband was going somewhere and because there was this it was at a venue and this movie was being released and it was what the movie was about. And I knew the people that would be in the room and I said, I'm not going. You don't want to go? It'll be fun. I said, maybe for you. I said, but I know the room's going to be filled with negativity, maybe not negativity, but there's going to be a lot of negative people in there and I'm not going to be in that environment, right? A lot of people think they need to or they feel they have to, but
Yeah.
you are the one who makes the choice, right? Or again, don't get absorbed into that negative conversation or just no, I'm just going to sit here and not even add my thoughts. because I don't want to have negative thoughts about whatever you're talking about.
And
Oh,
it's your time as well, Tanya. And that's
yeah,
another thing. We can't recuperate. We can't get time back.
that's right.
Just enjoy the time with the people you want to be with.
Yeah,
I have to say, and I'm going to share something with your audience and with yourself. Not long ago, I started looking at the people I really wanted to be with and at the people I didn't want to be
yeah,
with
yeah,
because of the same reasons,
hmm,
toxic relationships or
yeah,
not like the real trust.
yeah,
And slowly, I've just distanced myself from them. I didn't cut down totally the relationship, but cut off. But I mean, what I did was more, okay, I'm going to see you when I feel like it.
yeah,
And I can even say, I don't have the time or I'm busy,
yeah,
even if I'm watching Netflix,
yeah,
right? That's my time.
yeah,
I want to be with people who will be positive. I can trust. I can bounce back ideas with. The rest, no, sorry.
yeah. So true, right? I did that with someone that had been a friend. Now, this goes back quite a few years ago now. Let's say probably 12 years ago now. And it's just the friendship became very toxic, right? And I didn't appreciate the words she'd use. And I just finally I said, that's it. We're done. This friendship's done. And then I think, after that was I'd say maybe 8 years ago, she reached out again. And I ignored it.
Mhm.
As and some people might feel guilty if that were to happen, ending a toxic relationship or not replying back to a person. And I thought, no, that because I'm going to choose to validate myself and to honor myself. I'm not going to choose because that person, because they want to reach out in their story. And it's like, no, you know,
Very good.
had you, yeah, like is like, don't apologize. It's too late. Like, I'm not going back to that. I'm not going to go, put myself into a friendship that is negative. And I feel more people need to do that. A lot of people out, they feel they have to be friends with someone because so and so is, or, there's like they regret every time they have to get together. Well, then end that friendship, and
Mhm.
don't feel, maybe you'll feel guilty at it, but don't feel you have to feel guilty about it.
Sometimes it's more difficult when it's a family member.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not impossible. It's
No.
just to put boundaries and actually our boundaries. Stop
Yeah.
being people pleaser, saying yes all the time. Just listen to your body when you feel like, ooh, when somebody wants you to do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
That means that you're not aligned. So maybe see that person a bit less. I know if it's mom and dad, it's a bit difficult, but um, trying to go around it or put yourself, as you were saying, in a bubble of
Yeah.
energy,
Yeah.
so you don't get the toxic or the negativity.
Yeah.
But please be with people who will cheer you up when you're down.
hmm
Important.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting that you talked about family members because I had one of my podcasts. I was, talking to someone about, what they mentioned, what about those family members that are so negative? And I said, you know what? My personal tip that I said I can give to you is, if you're going somewhere to that, visiting that family member that's, negative with another person, decide beforehand, like a cue word or something where they can say, okay, well, we have to, I have to be somewhere. And or I said, where, like, maybe you have a favorite piece of jewelry, like a necklace or a bracelet or earring or something, a really favorite piece of jewelry or clothing that brings you joy and happiness. I said, wear it. So when you're feeling like this, just touch it and kind of, okay, go to that place, right? And feel that love or whatever. They're like, oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. I said, yeah, or just, excuse yourself. You have to go to the bathroom and go in the bathroom and just kind of, right? Release, release, release. And of course, like, we've talked about, put that white bubble around yourself and recognize when you're starting to feel like this, just take these breathing. No one will even know that you're taking these deep breaths and calming yourself down. So all these little baby things that you can do to to help you in those situations. So Isabelle, as we're slowly drawing to a close, I want to thank you for this beautiful conversation. And there's Four little questions I would love to ask you here. A quote, we all have quotes that we absolutely love, and often we'll write them down or keep them in the back of our mind. So, Isabel, what is a quote that you really love?
Anything is possible.
Mm, love that. Love that. Anything is possible. That's really, really good to keep, right? Because often you'll hear the impossible. Get rid of the im and look at the possible. Nice. And you've shared wonderful, beautiful advice today with our audience or listener. What is another piece of advice that you would love to share today?
Be yourself. Don't listen to others' opinions, and listen to your body as well, because your body will tell you, your heart will tell you, and try to forget about the logical thing, but tap into your intuition, and your heart will tell you the truth.
Yeah, intuition or heart. We need to listen to that. That's a topic for that's a whole topic in itself for another day.
Exactly.
Oh, beautiful. And if this was the last day of your life, Isabel, what is one thing that you would be grateful for?
Well, being with you today, and maybe being like an inspiration for some women and men as well. So they will follow their heart, and they will live happy, and especially they will live the life they aspire to.
Ah, very nice. And thank you for the compliment.
Thank you.
So Isabel, you didn't know about this question, so I'm just going to go out there and ask away. So, Isabel, if you didn't exist today, why would the world need to create you?
Oh, that's a good question, because I don't want to brag about myself, but I I think, it's going to be more or less the same, maybe um, to inspire, and to accompany women to just shine. That's what I would say.
I love it. So you would need to be created, Isabel, to inspire women, to help women allow themselves to shine, and to create, I'm going to say, beautiful energy for women all over the world.
Exactly, and reclaim their true selves.
Love it, love it, love it. So thank you, Isabel, for your time and for this wonderful conversation. For the audience today, you're listening, I want you to think about and write down one thing that really popped out in your mind today as you listen, because that one word or that one phrase, that one sentence, there's a reason that you heard it. So write it down, let it sit with you for a while, and let your heart, your gut instinct, your intuition reclaim your true self with that specific phrase or word. So thank you again, Isabel, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And as always, be grateful. Write it down. What are you grateful for? And as you lie in bed this evening, as you close your eyes, whenever you go to bed, think about the best thing that happened. And when you wake up tomorrow, allow yourself to shine with a compliment and be grateful that you woke up and get to live another day. This is Tanya Otterstein-Liehs saying thank you very much. Until next time, love who you are and love life.